So I was driving to work today, and if I'm not talking to my son, I'm just listening to like a good podcast or even some music. But on the drive to work, I became so overwhelmed with emotions, and I realized that I was crying because I have to clock in somewhere for 7 hours a day, for 40 hours a week. Actually, no, 35 hours a week. I have to clock in and pretend to be somebody that I'm not. And I feel like my soul is like crying out. It is. It took me two ayahuasca journeys, mainly the first one. The second one was like, whew. But the first one, it took an ayahuasca journey, 10 years in treatment therapy, to realize that for so long I have not been like living in my truth. Like I feel like I could say something better than that, but just knowing that I haven't been living up to my fullest potential, like always feeling like I've like capped, and I realized that it comes from just the way that I was raised. Like, the thing is, what I realized is that my parents lived vicariously through me. My mom, for example, when I was growing up, I would always like go places with my mom, and my mom would ask me to like do like, say, we're in like Walmart and she needs something off the shelf. She would say to me like, hey, ask that person, can they get it for us? And I'm like, well, why don't you do it? And she's like, nobody's gonna, they're not gonna talk to me. I'm fat, and you're tall and beautiful, like, you go over there and do it. And then my mom used to always like count how many people would like look at me, and I understand that, I dress however I feel like dressing. And my grandmother used to always tell me, and I'm so sorry for saying but my grandmother will always tell me, you have a light about yourself, and when you have a light about yourself, people will look at you. But my mom never, never shared that with me. Like, my mom used my light to her advantage. My dad literally would take me to like all of these parties. My dad used to DJ, and he would take me to all these parties and like just make me like battle people. He didn't no networking, but just to battle, like to actually like dance battle. And I think I was doing that up until like my early 20s. Yeah, like up until I graduated college, my dad used to use me. But when I was 16, I asked my dad, hey, let's go out. Let's because when I used to work at this clothing department store called Daffy's in the men's department, and I remember having this conversation with an older gentleman. He kind of looked like Rondell Sheridan. I wonder if he's still alive, man. He was an older man, Jamaican man, and he was just telling me all the things that he would do. Like, yeah, I would take my daughter out shopping. We would have a day at the mall. And so I remember asking my dad, I said, hey, Dad, can we do those things? And my dad looked me dead in my face and was like, Tasha, we not white. Like, now, after journeying with ayahuasca and even like working with a teacher, I'll be respectful and say a teacher, working with this teacher, because I won't take away from their knowledge, working with this teacher for a short amount of time, I learned that we pick our parents, right? So there has to be a reason why I picked my parents. I'm still figuring that out. But growing up and like realizing that I have worked like really, really good jobs, but it was because of me, like in survival mode, but I figured out how to wing it and get shit done. Like, it wasn't off of my parents like showing me the way. I work with people who was raised in households where their parents kind of showed them the way. I didn't have that. Like, I didn't have that at all. Like, my parents used my quote unquote gifts or whatever to their advantage. And now I'm working at a job that I've been at for like 12 years, where I've run like 5-6 programs, and I still feel like I'm not accomplished enough. Like, I was looking over my resume the other day, and even when I had moved to Louisiana for a year, this lady was offering a service, and she looked at my resume. And she emailed me back, and she fixed it for me, and it wasn't too much to fix or whatever. Like, she just formatted it for me. But she said something, and I'm paraphrasing, but in a nutshell, she said to me, you sell yourself short. Based off of your resume, you are very accomplished, and you sell yourself short. Now, I had a session with my therapist the other day, and I learned that It's imposter syndrome. Like, no matter what I do, I'm going to always feel like I'm not enough because I wanted my parents to tell me, like, you are enough, and they weren't able to do that. I didn't pick that in this lifetime to have parents that could speak life into me because they don't know how to. So now I'm at this stage in my life that I'm speaking life into myself, and I'm trying to hold my hand and tell every version of myself that it's okay. We did our best. I applied to one college, Montclair State University, and I got in. I got into that school. I applied to one school. I didn't even know what I wanted to do. No, actually, no. I wanted to be a gynecologist. And my mom said to me, you want to look at nasty vaginas all day? But would that not be my job? To help people? I was so, like, I loved science. I used to, like, hide bread and, like, put different things on the bread and, like, hide it in different places to see how long it would take to mold. My mother wasn't with that shit. Like, y'all know how it is for some of us that grew up in households where you are different, you are unique, and that's how I was. I just wanted to be a kid. I loved Miss Frizzle. My son, his teacher that he has now, last year, I can't remember what the event was, but she was dressed up as Miss Frizzle. And when I seen his teacher dressed up as Miss Frizzle, I was like, yes, I really hope my son gets you as a second grade teacher. And he got her as a second grade teacher. But my inner child was so excited for that because growing up, I just wanted to learn. I wanted to learn. I was so excited about learning. And I couldn't do that in no household where I had to help out my mama, because my dad wasn't helping her. I was the parent with my mama. My brother, I used to have to get him up to take him to the bathroom. But I should have been sleeping like him to get ready for school. And then I'll go to school and I'm angry. I get upset when people raise their hand and they know the answer. Like, I was a piece of work in class because my inner child was crying out. I am being neglected at home. But the teachers ain't think to, call home and say, hey, is something wrong? So I had to figure it out. I went to college with that same mentality. I wasn't prepared. And when I sat back and started reflecting, I felt shame because I was like, why the fuck would my parents just let me go out into the world like that? But then I learned something, that sometimes our soul reincarnate through these people just so we can get here. And I also learned that sometimes your soul, like, you're older than your parents. So it was like I was always the parent to my parents. They were more like my friends than anything. But they used me because they knew they could. And I ended up in relationships and friendships where people mirrored that same pattern, that same trait as my parents, where they could manipulate me very easy. And now at this age, 39, turning 40 in February, I'm very fucking angry because I think about how many times I allow people to abuse me and manipulate me because I abandoned myself. And I know that anger is a gift, and I'm trying to figure out how to work through it. One of the ways is by talking to y'all, but I'm really fucking pissed. Like, I'm pissed. Even now at this age, and I work with people that still be playing in my face, and I'll be pissed. Like, because I feel so much rage, and I need to learn how to just, like, let them know, like, I see what you're doing. Because it's a part of me that when I catch it, I wanna hurt them. Like, and not like I wanna fight them. Let me say that. Because I understand you gotta be mindful of what you say in the internet. But I'm learning, like, it's okay. It's okay. Just thank you for showing me who you are. That's it. And I'm just gonna keep on going. I'm gonna keep on showing up for myself the best I know how. Because a year ago, I wasn't even in this space. Shit. A year ago, niggas was trying to get me in a cult. And I knew it. I felt it. I was like, something don't feel right. Something don't feel right. And it took me a few months. To realize what was going on, but I seen the signs because I had already grew up in the environment with people like that. I had a mother that was exactly like the person that I called a teacher to try to help me work through my stuff. So, I'm going to pat myself on the back because I'm not that same person I was a year ago. I'm not. And it is hard when, you realize, like, you got to parent yourself. The way that you want your parents to be there for you, they're probably not able to. And that's all right. They're on a journey too. So, yeah, that's my 2 cents before I go into this place where I have to pretend to be like I want to be here until I get where I got to go. So, yeah, y'all be good out there. And whomever that needed to hear this, yeah, we in this together. Like, it's a journey, but, we're figuring out why we're here. I love you. Peace.